Martin Luther King Jr.'s fight for civil rights was uniquely American and was not Democrat or Republican. Welcome to OK Miles. Martin Luther King Jr. understood that civil rights were about uniting and not just virtue signaling about our personal beliefs. I cannot imagine he would be in favor of the type of self-described radical love that Missouri Congresswoman Cori Bush is all about. Calling individuals who were tried, then convicted, appealed their conviction, and executed due to their capital offenses and murder victims of President Trump is suggesting that the system MLK fought to change is so systematically broken it must be dissolved. Furthermore, he certainly would not have been okay with Black Lives Matter or any civil rights movement led by a self-described trained Marxist that your Twitter profile insinuates you're in support of. Just so that we're clear, this is the Black Lives Matter founder Patrisse Cullors explicitly saying that's what they were for in 2015.
First thing I think is that we actually do have an ideological frame. Myself and Alicia in particular are trained organizers. We are trained Marxists. We are super versed on sort of ideological theories.
Any suggestion that that's not what they represent today is just ridiculous. Those same leaders are still there today. When our nation was founded, it was because our founders understood the implication of a continued monarchical rule with respect to true liberty of individuals. Founders such as James Armistead Lafayette, who as a slave joined the Continental Army and became America's first double agent, understood the importance of what was to come out of the birth of our nation. His efforts were later realized when he was granted his freedom, living out his days as a wealthy farmer with his family in Virginia, even being paid a pension by the state of Virginia for his efforts during the Revolutionary War. What did this man fight for if not freedom for all? The travesty of liberty that was slavery was acknowledged by our founders when the Confederation Congress passed the Northwest Ordinance of 1787, explicitly prohibiting slavery in new states joining the Union. Our Constitution came under attack during the Civil War, and men like Sullivan Blue, a Union Army major, understood the reality of our Revolutionary War and what it meant. In a letter he wrote to his wife Sarah just 2 weeks before his death, he shared a sentiment of what our way of government stood for that I believe Martin Luther King echoed in his fight for civil rights and equality for all. His letter read, "Our movement may be one of a few days' duration and full of pleasure, and it may be one of severe conflict and death to me. Not my will, but thine, O God, be done. If it is necessary that I should fall on the battlefield for my country, I am ready. I have no misgivings about, or lack of confidence in, the cause in which I am engaged, and my courage does not halt or falter. I know how strongly American civilization now leans upon the triumph of the government, and how great a debt we owe to those who went before us through the blood and suffering of the Revolution. And I am willing, perfectly willing, to lay down all my joys in this life to help maintain this government and to pay that debt." I would imagine that this sentiment is equally shared today by many Americans, as we want our union to preserve the liberty granted to us by God. Today, I am immediately labeled as a white supremacist for being conservative by congressional members like AOC or Congresswoman Bush. They offer no other reason than my being white and having some sort of privilege that wasn't apparent to me growing up, living in a trailer in rural Oklahoma, having to dig a hole in the ground to use the bathroom. I decry violence on both sides, whether it is Black Lives Matter protests that turn violent and destroy cities, or idiots storming the Capitol. Yet since my views are conservative, I am treated differently than if I were liberal. This is antithetical to Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech, and I ask this to everyone. Who do you believe final judgment lies with? And will it rely on the content of your character or the color of your skin? If you enjoyed today's show and would like to see more of this content, please share this video and follow me on what remains of social media. You can also financially support what we do through Patreon. All the links are below. I'm Miles Rahimi. This is OK Miles, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.